Hey, everybody. Welcome to this bonus episode of Pink Shade. It is a recap of The Cult of the Real Housewife. Now, this is a show airing on TLC January 1st, 8 p.m., and then the next day it'll be on Discovery. If you're hearing this for the first time, we're doing it on Prime, but then on January 8th, I'm going to be putting this on the free feed. So you'll have plenty of time to watch it. Keisha and I have watched it, and we are
Yep.
here to discuss.
I did not appreciate that there was other people who got screeners of this show, and
Okay.
they're already talking about it on TikTok.
Well, they're allowed to. So when they send the screeners,
Oh.
they'll tell you as of the 29th, we're recording this on the 30th.
Mm.
As of the 29th at like 10 p.m., you're allowed to talk. They sent, and you should have gotten it as well. They sent me like 4 clips that we would be allowed to post. And so I posted one.
Oh,
Um,
okay. I
yeah,
don't pay attention to all that.
I know. Um, Yeah, they put an embargo on talking about it up to some point, but they say, like, you can't say spoilers, you can only say these certain things. So, you can talk about what you saw,
Okay.
but it's like you can't they send you the 4 clips you can use, right? So, if you try to record off your TV something juicy, your watermark is all the way across the middle.
Yes, it
Yeah,
is.
right,
Yes, it
right, right.
is. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's just some inside baseball, guys. But I do have 23 pages of notes, which is a lot. I did
Girl.
I know,
Woo!
I didn't mean to take that many, but because I interviewed the director and one of the
Mm-hmm.
producers, I just took all these notes, and that actually sort of helps me when I'm watching it, even if I don't even, like, go back to it, because it helps me kinda remember people's names specifically. I'm always
Yeah.
forgetting people's names. Um so episode 1 of this is called It's a Cult. Now, we start off talking about Mary being on Real Houses of Salt Lake City and being one of the richest housewives, which is still unclear how.
We
How?
just don't, after this documentary, we still 1 and 1 is still equaling 3. Like,
Yeah.
we don't understand where the money is coming from.
So when I
No
had
one knows.
no one knows, and when I had the producer and the director on and when we were not recording, I asked them what their
Mhm,
thoughts on, like,
mhm.
where is the money? And they said that there is, like, an active lawsuit that's going through the system, but because it wasn't at a point in the system that they could talk about it, but there are, like, members of the church and things that are either suing the church or suing Mary and Robert, but it wasn't at a point in the legal system where they could include it in the documentary because it's like there's no result to it, so there's no point.
What
But
are
there
they
is
suing them for?
a people, my understanding, it's like the whole, "You s you made me give you the mortgage to my house," or they put these people in financial ruin, allegedly.
Okay, okay. I get it, but I don't get it because it's
Yeah,
not like they held a gun to the person's head and said, "Sign over all this money to us."
right, but when you're in a cult, you don't need a gun held to your head, you'll just do what they said because, like they say a lot on this thing, like any cult, and I loved the, cult
The
expert.
expert, yeah.
Like any cult, you'll do what you need to do for the leader because you think that's how you're getting into heaven. It is about the leader, but in your mind, the leader is the way to heaven. Like in Scientology, like David Miscavige and being at that high level of Scientology is you are gonna live a billion years and you're going to save the planet and, you know, listen, at this point in my life, I don't know how anybody can get sucked into a cult. There's so much information out there about
I
what a
don't
cult
either.
is.
I just figure people who become members of a cult are just lost souls looking for somewhere to
Looking for
land.
something, yes, yes,
Yeah, because there's no way I'm signing over I don't even like share money with my husband. You think
mhm,
I'm about to give it to a cult leader?
right.
Absolutely not. No.
But,
Mm-mm.
it's a lot of you think this could never happen to you, but it could happen to you,
Mhm.
and a lot of these things are very, very slow, right?
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
and so we get, some cuts of Up and Adam, so that's Adam, he's
Yes.
featured heavily,
Mhm.
and Sherelle's World, who you and I followed
Yes.
for a long time. And a journalist named Cheyenne Roundtree. Now, Cheyenne Roundtree is the woman who originally wrote this article for Daily Beast or Vulture or something. It'll maybe come up
Ye
later.
I think it was
Uh,
Daily Beast.
but she's sort of the one that was like, "Oh, this new Housewives on," and she's like, "A minister? Like what?" And started really looking into it.
Here's the thing about when Mary came on the show, we're used to, there's kind of like a formula to all the housewives.
Mhm.
They've got a rich husband, or they are a business owner or something like that. We have never had where someone is a pastor.
Right.
It just doesn't go with the housewives formula at all. It's kind of like, say what now? A pastor? And she's super rich, which to me
Mhm.
that's fascinating because it goes to the mega church situation where you
Yes.
have these pastors who are millionaires, and it's just like, is that how it's supposed to be? Because I'm in the
Yeah.
wrong place. You know what
Uh-huh.
I mean?
Yeah. There's that Instagram account called Preachers and Sneakers,
Oh,
and it's all about, like, the flashy clothes and how much everything costs. You see all these,
yeah.
like, mega church ministers and like, "Oh, these are
Hmm.
tennis shoes that cost $2,000. This is
Right.
a $10,000 suit." And you're like, "Wait a minute." You're like, "My little Methodist preachers, like, look homeless half the time," you know?
And they
Yeah.
have real jobs. They have real 9 to 5 jobs, and along with being a pastor, you
Yeah,
know.
sometimes, yeah,
Yeah,
sometimes.
a lot of the times they do because they're not making enough money from the church,
Yeah,
but
not in this case.
no,
Um, we see her preaching, and we see all these clips of people saying that they just love Mary. They think she's quirky, she's funny, people love
she
her,
is.
and she is quirky and she
She
is
is.
funny.
Mhm.
Um, and then we come to the question of how can, as a pastor, how does she afford all these luxury items? So
And not
we
just luxury items, Mary Payne.
no, it's just rooms and rooms and rooms.
Yes, like we like luxury items,
Yeah,
okay? But
yeah,
we don't have like bedrooms in our homes dedicated. Here's the Chanel room, here's
like
the Louis
floor
Vuitton room.
floor to
We
ceiling.
Yes. And there's not every inch of the room is filled with something.
It's a hoarder situation, but
Yes,
for luxury items. Yeah.
luxury items. Yes, that's exactly what it is. Yeah.
So then she's introduced to the Salt Lake City audience as the pastor, and we get the story. Her grandmother gave her the church and all the businesses associated with the church
Mhm.
when she died. And the
Mhm.
grandmother, mama, also wanted Mary to marry her second husband, Robert, who was in
Mhm.
fact her step grandfather.
Right.
Okay. So that's
And we
what
were all shooketh when we heard that.
it's
We were
all
like,
getting
"What?"
explained. We're seeing clips and it's all
Yeah.
getting explained. She married Robert Sr. when she was 22. He was
Mhm.
42. Mama was 62. Okay.
Yes. That
So
is
we get a lot of clips of I only got 14 birthday cards, you old stingy people. You're poor. I don't want poor people around me. You poor people. And I
Mhm.
mean, just not great. Now we've all seen it and it's not good. You can't
Oh,
deny that that is bad.
no, no, I love Mary M. Cosby. I
I know
love
you,
her
I know.
down.
Mhm.
However, that was horrible. But I
Yeah.
will say this. There has been a dramatic shift
Mhm.
from season 1 Mary Cosby to
Right.
what are we in season 5? There's
Right.
a total like I believe that the old Mary most definitely would say something like that. I don't think that Mary 2.0 would say that.
To her congregation because I think she would.
I don't think she would now.
I don't know why, and I discussed this with the people I interviewed. I don't know why she would bring the church back up. Like, 'cause it's been down for renovations of which they've done not one thing. It looks exactly the same, but it was
Mhm,
down for
mhm,
renovations, air quotes. I think it's because
mhm,
'cause they're being sued. Um, there's no reason to bring it back up. She's got this other career. They've got obviously plenty of money. At this point, Robert Senior's gotta be in his 70s. They live
mhm.
completely separate lives.
Oh, yeah. I
So
Which is the reason why I think there's been a shift in Mary it's because she's away from him.
mhm, mhm.
She's so much more likable without him being around.
Yeah, I agree. Yes, I agree. Because and you do remember, and I discussed this with them too, on the show and then also on that reunion when we saw, when he's around, it does seem like father-daughter.
Yeah,
She doesn't
yeah.
seem strong when he's around.
Mhm, mhm.
Mhm.
I agree.
Now we meet her sister. So her sister is Denise, and
Mm,
she says, "Mary's a big old hypocrite and has always been a fraud. My earliest memories of Mary, is she's needy. And Mary even being able to marry Gramps was not normal. You got to step out of yourself to be able to marry
Yeah.
Gramps and have an end goal. And I think that's a really good point. You have to be able to step out of yourself and say, my
Right.
end goal is this. So I'm going to marry this
Yeah.
guy that, according to Denise, their whole lives they knew was their grandfather.
Yeah, this wasn't like, hey, I'm 16 and my grandmother married this guy. That
Yeah.
is like the grandfather that they knew.
Right. They don't know the real
Period.
grandfather.
They no. I mean, Mary was 3 when they got married. That is the only grandfather she has ever known in her entire life.
It's gross.
It
So
is quite disgusting.
Cheyenne Roundtree tells us about her investigation. She talked to many former members, and what was overwhelming to her was the financial abuse.
Mhm.
Okay, now we're getting these 3 siblings. This is Rosalind,
Yes.
Ernest, and Michael Enoch. Enoch.
Yes.
I think I'm saying
Mhm.
Enoch
Mhm.
correctly.
You are. Yeah.
Um, so Ernest is watching a video, some kids singing from the old church when Mama was there, and he sees his
Mhm.
dad was the choir leader. Ernest himself is the organ player.
Mhm.
And at the first reunion, Andy asked her about, is it a cult? And she says, well, people think it's a cult. And Mary says in the audio that we're seeing, she says, it was because they heard me calling the people in the congregation stingy, but it was taken out of context. You know, I'm a God-fearing woman. My church is small. My church is small, could never provide that life for me. So I don't know why people think I'm stealing their money. Um,
Mhm.
Ernest goes, I'm gonna tell you something. I was there when that stingy 14 birthday cards conversation happened. I was one of the people that gave her a birthday card. I put $1,000 in that birthday card.
That is crazy to me that you would give someone because they were childhood friends.
Yeah.
And now this is your pastor and you gifted them $1,000.
Because Michael, the brother that we talked to later, dated Mary when they were in high school.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So
so,
that is just crazy to me.
and Rosalind, the sister, says, oh, we'd have emergency meetings where they would ask for money. Like the doors were locked and you were in those. And this is, I mean, all of this is very cult, check the boxes.
Yeah.
Robert would instruct the ushers to stand at the door so they couldn't leave. They'll take credit cards, they'll take debit cards, they'll take checks. People were cashing out their 401ks. People are losing their homes. It was a lot of pressure, but where's the money going? Right?
I
Because
mean,
it's
like
not
you
going to
said, it's
this
not going
one
into
building.
church.
Mm-mm.
No, 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 no. I mean, it's like you said, it looks exactly. It was crazy to see pictures and videos of when Mama was,
Yeah.
over the church. And I'm like, those are the same goddamn chairs, unless they just have been renovating it to look exactly the same. I mean, there's been no changes at all.
No,
I mean, it's still the same red chairs and everything like that. I'm like, what? It just doesn't add up to
it
me, Mary
doesn't add
Payne.
up. I agree.
No.
So we meet Dr. Stephen Hassan. He's the cult expert. And he says cults control you with financial exploitation. Most people in the cult don't know what's going on behind the scenes with the money. Um, and now we get season 2 of Salt Lake City. We get clips of people talking, hey, Ben Mendelker's on there. Later on, we see my friend Gibson Johns. I sent them while I was watching the screeners last week.
Mhm.
I sent them clips of themselves. Both Ben and Gibson were like, wait a minute. I'm in the documentary. I was like, yes, you
They
are.
didn't even know.
No, they didn't know because you can take whatever you want from social media. You know, they're saying Mary makes great TV, and
She does.
little girl. So we see the clip.
Bobblehead.
We see the clip of her telling Whitney and her daughter
Mhm.
about one of the church
Oh
members dying.
God.
Now, Keisha,
I
this
know. I
this
know.
scene when she walks into their house because they're going to make Christmas cookies or something, and she goes, "Yeah, some of my church they died. Yeah, it's crazy. They
Yeah.
flew right out of the center, landed in a ditch." And the little girl's like, "Is she okay?" He's like, "No, she dead." Woo, wear your seatbelt. Let's cook. And you're like,
Oh,
wow,
you're
wow.
thinking, wow, but at the same time, you're thinking maybe this is not true. She's just because sometimes they say things for a storyline on these shows, and it's just not true. I mean, I felt like it might have been true, but exaggerated.
Or for her to go, I'm not going to be able to stay. Like, I just wanted to let y'all know this terrible thing happened. I'm not going to be able to stay. Wear your seatbelt. I got to go.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But she stayed.
that wasn't the case at all.
So
Mm-mm.
Rosalind of
Oh
the
boy.
Enochs says, I watched a clip of Mary
Mhm.
mocking the loss of a life of my loved one, my
Ugh.
niece, who I helped to
Mm.
raise, like it was a joke. And Mikkel was the niece, daughter of Michael, who we've been seeing the whole thing. They used to date
This is
her in high
bad.
school and everything. So we
Yeah.
get information about the girl that died, Mikkel. She was a mother of two. She was working to pull her life together.
Yeah.
And they asked Michael Enoch, do you want to see the clip again? He goes, no, I don't want to see that clip
Mm-mm.
again of him talking about my daughter's death. He says, I felt angry. I felt it was a personal attack on me, a personal attack on my daughter. That's my pastor.
I know.
Mary never called anybody in the family about Mikhail dying. Okay. The granddad was the organist with mama.
Yep.
Ernest, the brother, the uncle of this child, was her current organist.
Yep.
Michael was her high school boyfriend. And so she
Yep.
knows all these people and she never even calls.
And the
Then,
girl was a member of the church because they said how
yes,
much she loved Mary.
she loved Mary.
Yeah.
Then there was somebody put on Facebook like a GoFundMe to set up for the girl's children.
Yeah.
Mary told the congregation not to donate to the
Oh
GoFundMe because it would
boy.
be less money for her in the church.
This was bad. Like, I can't even, I'm going to defend her as much as I
I
can.
know, but you can't defend this.
I cannot defend this because honestly, I remember that scene, but when she tells it, you kind of do giggle because you don't realize that like this is really, really happening to someone. So when they said that this was my niece, this was my
And
daughter,
we've
I was
already
like,
gotten to know them in
holy
the
shit ball.
documentary, the siblings, we'd already
Yeah.
gotten to know them. So it wasn't like a
Yeah.
brand new person coming on the screen. We'd already got to know them.
Mm-mm.
When they said her name was Mikhail and we knew his name was
Mhm.
Michael, I was like, oh Lord, please
Oh
don't let that
shit.
be his
Yeah.
child. But
And
it was.
it was a shout. I was like, oh, Mary, Mary, Mary. This is
Oh,
and she can't deny it because it's filmed.
and that's who
Like
died.
she said
Yeah.
it. That was her reaction to that situation. But for her as a pastor to not even call, your pastor's supposed to not just call, they're supposed to be at your house.
Be at your house.
Yeah. What can we do? Like they should be the ones starting the GoFundMe account.
And to set up a food train and all that stuff.
Yes, all these things. Oh, Mary. Mm.
So Michael says she has to live with what she did. Her day
Mhm.
is coming because you reap what you sow.
Mhm.
Then they see the church treating Mary like God. We see the clip of the man on his knees praising her, and that woman standing in the audio, going, "You are my best friend. I will
Yeah.
never leave you." And Mary's just nodding at her.
She would never have dinner with that woman.
No, that woman was
No.
not cute enough for her.
No,
Mm-mm.
no, no. And I think she'd have dinner with one of us before she would have dinner with that lady.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah,
Um,
hands down.
so the cult expert tells us, worshiping the leaders, we have this awe. We forget that people are human, especially when the
Yeah.
leader tells you that God is speaking to them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now we see all about Cameron. So Cameron was that former church
Mm-hmm.
member of Mary's that was introduced on the show at the Fresh Wolf party.
I remember.
I was
I
like,
remember.
LOL, Fresh Wolf.
Yeah.
Um, he is telling Meredith, you need to be very careful about Mary. He won't say why.
Right.
Now you
Right.
think about Cameron and think about Meredith and Lisa and Whitney and all of them sitting down to talk to him and bringing him on. And it
Mm-hmm.
is a wonder that she still speaks to any of them. But she was off for one season and then came back after this.
Yeah, that's true. And I also found it so interesting that he started okay. I feel a certain way about both parts. I get him telling the other members of the congregation about what's going on,
Mm-hmm.
but I still feel like he did not have to reach out to the show.
Well, Lisa was friends with him from something
Right.
else. So
And
she
I also
probably was like, I know somebody that
ex-
goes to that church and they're like, get that guy on here. Yeah.
and then I also felt like why didn't he tell all of it knowing that he was dying?
I don't know. But
I feel like, hey, what can happen to me now? I'm already dying. Let me just spill it all.
well, there was a rumor, and some people
Mm-hmm.
say that she had an affair with Cameron.
Mm-hmm.
He died during a surgery for a brain tumor.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's saying Cameron, he was a great guy. He came to the church. When he came, he was looking for a church. When he
Right.
found the church, he had been saving for 3 years to
Mhm,
tithe.
mhm,
So he
mhm.
tithed 3 years worth of savings immediately into the church. So of course she was like, cha-ching. And he was very involved in the church. He's very confident in the church. And, Michael says, and I wondered about him with Mary because he seemed real sure of himself when he was with her. But then he
Mhm.
stopped coming and wouldn't tell me why.
I mean, but can you blame Mary? I mean, you're fucking your 77-year-old grandfather.
I
I mean, and
think
then a nice piece of ass comes along, gives you attention, gives you money.
I think they probably banged a couple of times and got her
I
pregnant,
agree.
and then that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. So here comes this nice looking guy. He's big. He's got money.
Age
She hopped
appropriate.
right on it. Yeah, she
Mhm.
hopped right on it. I mean, there's probably cobwebs down there. I mean, serious. I'm sure when she opened her legs and went, because
Keisha.
it hadn't been open in so long.
Keisha.
Yeah, I don't fault her for
Gross.
the affair with Cameron. I don't. I don't.
So we meet Dan Cosby. Dan
Mm-hmm.
is Mary's first cousin. And
Mm-hmm.
he says, Cameron called me and said he had things to tell me, but he was feared for his life. But if anything happened to him, he wanted his story to be out. We hear recording Cameron saying, I don't want to go down on Mary's ship. I don't want to associate with her anymore. I had to go to therapy to get over it, the affair. And Dan is trying
Damn.
to tell Cameron, like, you're a victim because she's the leader of our church. And
Right.
according to what Cameron told Dan,
Mm-hmm.
Mary and Cameron, yes, were having sex. And yes, Ernest knew about this. We see tons of photos of Mary and Cameron together. They're at a basketball game. They're at a dinner.
Yeah.
They seem like a couple. Yeah.
I think that Robert Sr. might have been okay with that.
Yeah, because he's out and about. He's in Vegas. He's in wherever. They've got 5 homes.
Yeah, he's like, okay, do whatever you want to do because I mean that's more Viagra for me to bang other women
Do
with.
what I want. Yeah.
Yeah.
Michael tells us, um, Michael Enoch tells us that Cameron was contacted by production and he was friends with Lisa Barlow, and that Cameron, was the one who had recommended Mary for the show in the first place. Lisa called him and said, "You know anybody?"
Now that was shocking. Well, it was shocking the fact that he and Lisa were friends. Like, how did they meet? And knowing
Right.
that he was the one who got Mary on the show because that was his woman.
But I wonder what his job was, right? That he
Yeah.
met Lisa Barlow because Lisa
Yeah.
Barlow was on like the circuit of the film festival, Sundance and stuff.
Yes.
So he must have had a job probably in hospitality. So he knew Lisa Barlow.
Maybe.
And she
Yeah.
called him up and said, we're trying to make the cast not be completely white.
Yeah.
Do you
Yeah.
know somebody that lives like
Of
this
color.
luxury
Yeah.
lifestyle of color that you could recommend? He was
Mm-hmm.
like, well, my boo thing and also my
Yes.
pastor.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
So he says, Michael says, I think
Mm-hmm.
Cameron set her up on that show so people can see for themselves who she really is to expose her. Then we see clips
Mm.
of Cameron telling Lisa about mortgaging his home to the church, 300,000, and he had nobody else in town when he moved there. He was vulnerable. She love bombed him, and of course, he'd given all his 3 years of tithing. And Cameron thought everything he was doing for Mary was for God. Oh, okay.
Right.
He does work for Goldman Sachs. Said he was intelligent and worked for Goldman Sachs. How could he be such a fool? So he was in some sort of finance. So she could have met him through that. Like he worked in the firm that does her finances or whatever. One of her 5
And we know
lawyers. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was about to say we know all about Lisa's finances, so she needs
Yeah.
all the help she can get. Yeah.
She might be
Mm-hmm.
next. Clink, clink. Okay. Allegedly. All right.
Right.
All right. Episode 2 is That's When the Trouble Started. And Denise, her sister, says,
Look, Mary Payne, this woman,
Denise?
although yes, her sister,
Mhm.
I
Yes.
believe everything that she said, but she
Yes.
still gave off hater vibes. Okay. And I cannot take her seriously because every episode, her wig part was on a different side of her head.
I was going to ask you what you thought about her wig.
I mean, one episode, the part was on the left. Another episode, the part was on the right. Once that happens, I can't even hear what you're saying because
Right.
that's all I'm focused
You
on.
lose your
And then
focus.
that little piece of hair that just kept sticking up in the front. I'm like, production, can someone please like flat iron this shit down? Like, come on, please help
All
us
right.
out.
Sister Denise, um, she says, I can't believe Mary was sleeping with a congregation member. If my grandmother was there, none of this would have happened. Denise says, growing up with my grandmother as the pastor, it was strict. And Robert Sr. was Gramps to us. He's our grandfather. He was our father figure because we didn't have a father figure.
Yeah.
Robert and Mama got married. He was 20 years younger than her. They never had kids. Mary's mom is Rosalind. We see a clip of Mary saying she just knows Mama would be so proud of her. So,
and I think maybe Mama did favor Mary. I really do. But I tell you what, when they first showed Robert Cosby, I was like, damn, he looked kind of good. There's no way he's not using this 66-year-old, rather large, a very plain looking woman.
Yeah.
He had an end game as well.
Yes. So sometimes, grifter find grifter, So they talk about how the church was so close. It was when Mama was there, very family oriented. We meet Dan's wife, Kim.
Yes.
So Kim says,
who had on a bad wig as well.
I think that's just her hair.
No, ma'am.
Okay. I'd have to look it up, but I thought that was just her hair.
No, ma'am. Where is Lindsay? Where is hairstylist Lindsay? No, we need her on the case. This was not a good wig.
Okay, Hair Bunky Lindsay, when you watch this, let us know if Dan's wife, Kim, has on a bad wig.
It's a bad wig.
So Kim goes, yeah, 100% it's a cult. Yeah. Mary, she's 100% responsible for ruining the church, what we had. So we get the history of the church. Okay. We meet Dorothy, who was Mama's best friend, and she was a member of the church. We find out Mama came from Detroit and walked on foot, and hitchhiked and whatever with her 4 kids to Salt Lake City. She felt called, just like Joseph Smith before, who started the Mormon church, felt called to Salt Lake City and started this Pentecostal church. We see her
because there ain't nothing there but white people and salt.
So that sounds great. So we see her first house. It was called the Saints House, and that's how she grew the church, out of this home. They built the first church in 1968. Hey, that's the year I was born. And we find out about in Pentecostal churches, they receive the Holy Ghost and they speak in tongues.
Yes.
We see clips of the sermons and the knocking people down and the woo and all this stuff. Okay.
The hooping and the hollering.
The hooping and the hollering. Now we meet a guy named Sam Kelly. He was Mama's adopted son.
Yes.
Okay. So Denise says, Mama was her grandmother, but because the mom wasn't around much.
Through marriage.
Yeah. No. Mama no.
I thought you said
Sam.
I got the names mixed up.
No, I got the names mixed up. Okay. Sam is the adopted son. Denise says, and I'm saying Denise is actually the granddaughter. Denise says, Mama started opening small businesses geared towards Black residents, which was an underserved community in Salt Lake City. But she remained connected to Indianapolis. She would go back for revivals there and then come back. Okay. When I said Detroit, I meant Indianapolis. So Midwest. So we see lots of people now, lots of clips of talking about Robert Cosby, Robert Sr. being a monster. But he was there to carry on the ministry whenever Mama would pass, and he was made the bishop. And Dorothy, the best friend, says, it does appear that he really loved Mama. And Sam, the adopted son's like, I don't know about that. He says he has a lot of different sides to him. So
I think he just saw some woman who was lonely. I'm sure Mama wasn't dating.
Yes.
And saw the potential. And he thought that he could run game on her. There's just no way this tall, high yellow, good-haired man looked at her and saw sexiness. Well, no. He should have looked at her like a grandmother.
Yeah. A mother, at least, 20 years older.
Something. Yeah.
So then we see this clip of Mary and Robert, which was in the first season of Salt Lake City, saying it was sort of, their marriage was sort of like an arranged marriage, because he said, Mama said, if anything ever happens to me, I want you to marry one of my girls.
Mm-hmm.
And Sam goes, you could tell in some of these clips that he's angry. He's angry that production asked that question. He's
Yeah.
angry how he's being portrayed. So Sam explains that he and his brother Demetrius were adopted by Mama and Robert when he was only 3 weeks old. He always thought Robert was his father, but he hated him.
Mm-hmm.
He
Yeah.
hated him. Robert and some of the other elders would call meetings called the Brotherhood with some of the young guys, make them do push-ups, make them run
Mm-hmm.
around the church like abusive, and they, tell things like holding your arms out for X amount of
Right.
time.
Mm-hmm.
And the elders, kick a kid if they couldn't do a push-up. And
That's so godly.
this is exactly what it says in the Bible. You should
Oh God,
abuse the
yes.
children of your church.
Abuse the children. Yes.
And Mama didn't know anything about it.
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't tell Mama because they didn't want to hurt her.
Right.
But one day, Demetrius told Mama everything. So she asked Robert, he said, oh, they're exaggerating. They're exaggerating. And she said, that's done. The meetings are done.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But even though Mama knew Robert was a bad guy, she stayed with him because the church doesn't like divorce. All right.
And that would have been so scoops. If she could see where things ended at, she would have went ahead and just divorced him, because that would be such less of a scandal than her granddaughter marrying her husband.
Yes.
And from the looks of it, Mama seemed to be a really, really genuine person that loved her congregation, loved everybody, wanted to help everybody. She wanted to build a community of pure family. I mean,
nobody has anything bad to say, and
not a word,
no financial
no.
You don't see there's lots of video of Mama and none of it saying you're ugly, you're poor people, you're stingy.
Not at all. And it's just like, you don't meet genuine people that often, but she just really, really, really was. She made,
but you hope your pastor is one of them. You hope your pastor is a genuine person.
Yeah, and she seemed to have been, and hardworking as well, because she was opening up all these businesses, not asking for all this money from her congregation.
Right. She's trying to make her own money.
Yeah.
So Denise says, Mary does a lot of things contradictory with how we grew up. We were on welfare. And then they show a clip of the show with Bronwyn saying something about, or maybe it was Brittany said, I said, I grew up poor. And don't worry, Mary, I grew up poor. And she was like, I didn't grow up poor. What are you talking about? And she said,
but here's my question before you go on. I have a question about that. I was confused.
Okay.
Because the sister says they grew up poor, they grew up on welfare. But at the same time, she said that Mama had to step in to help raise them.
Yeah.
And apparently Mama had, through all her businesses, was quite wealthy.
But I don't think wealthy. I just think doing okay. And then her daughter wasn't doing okay. And they just say that Mom had a difficult time. So Mama came in and helped raise them, but we don't know exactly what. And, we see the interview later with the mom and she ain't right.
Oh God, no, I've seen that interview before. It's like, something's wrong. There's something wrong with all of them. Between Mary, the sister, and the mom, something's not, it has to be something genetic. But that leads to the question of, here we go again, where does all the money come from? Because we were led to believe that Mama was wealthy. Therefore, she left everything to Mary, and that's how they're rich.
But I think Robert took over all these businesses when he got with Mama, and I think he built a lot of them up. I mean, I think that there are, from my understanding from other things I've seen, and this is all alleged because I don't actually know from what I've seen, that there are throughout the church, there's like a mortgage company within the church. So you can get your mortgage through the church. So who's going to benefit from that? The church. There are a lot of services you can get. Like if you're doing anything on your house, you need to use somebody with the church, like anything that's going to funnel money back to the church. So Mary says, Mama helped, Denise says, Mama helped raise them. And Mary and our mom had a falling out when my mom was like 19. So Rosalind, not the mom Rosalind Enoch of the three siblings, says Mary was annoying. She was a troublemaker. Yeah. She needed a lot of attention. She would run away a lot. Michael says,
I was surprised about that part, the running away.
I'm not. Michael
All the
says,
other stuff she said, I believed, but that was like, really?
Michael
Oh,
says
okay.
she liked dudes with reputation and money. She was always materialistic and she was always making other girls mad at her.
Oh, well,
Okay.
it's okay.
He said with her, it was always like drama, manipulation, scandal. It was everything was about herself and what men could do something for her.
I mean, we've seen some of that play out on the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
She always had an issue with the girls. She always would just, for no reason, get mad at someone and kind of pick at them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. She called Heather fat. She called Heather inbred. Yeah.
That will never not be funny to me.
So when they were adults, Mary came to live with Denise. And one time she took her car and left for 2 weeks. Took her car and left for 2 weeks.
That you stole the car.
You stole the car. You stole your sister's
stole
car.
it.
Yeah.
You stole your sister's car.
And she said she just got away with everything. She was doing things to bring reproach onto the church. And that's why she got disfellowshipped. She got,
Right.
which means you can come to church, but you're not allowed to participate. So I was like, does that mean like if the tongues come to you, you're not allowed to fall on the floor and say the tongues? Like,
no, you're not. No, you have to just stand there like nothing has happened.
You
Which,
send those
that was my
tongues to
first
somebody
time
else.
hearing that. Yeah. Pass. It's like you're passing along the little collection plate. Go to the next person. Now you catch the tongues and all that right there. So
during this time, Mama unexpectedly dies at 65 years old. So she's 65. Robert is 45. Mary is 25. Okay.
They don't mind. Well, what is it called? It seems very like predator like.
Yes, it does.
The relationship.
It does. It does seem. That's why I said, a lot of people are going to come away with this, seeing her as a victim. You do have all the people talking about her being kind of a bad person before she married Robert. But Sam, the adopted son, says when Mama died, the blanket got lifted and all the ugliness came out. Robert was her husband, Mama's husband. So he was to take over the church. And we hear clips of him yelling, if you trust in God, then you trust me. So Sam says, if she had been disfellowshipped from the church that Mama ran, why would Mama then want her to be in charge of the church?
Here we go again. It's
I don't think any of that happened. I don't think any of that happened where Mama said, because not one person backs it up other than Robert and Mary. And Mary had been disfellowshipped.
I feel as though, I'm going to go back. I feel as though Mary was probably her favorite. I think she may have had a conversation with Mary at some point saying, if you get right, I would like for you to leave this or take over this business or take over that business.
But not the church.
But probably not the church. But after seeing this, we know that all this bullshit about my grandmother wanted me to marry my we all thought originally when she said that, legitimately there was a will that said, please do this, please do that. But as the seasons went on, the cracks started coming out and they're like, there was no will that this woman said maybe she said it to him. I have no idea. I doubt it though.
But like Denise is like, why not me? I mean, all right.
You want the favorite grandchild.
Yeah. So Kim, Dan's wife, tells us that Mary kind of moved in to console Gramps. And Denise said, Gramps bought Mary a BMW. She was consoling him and showing him a new way of Christianity, which involved materialistic things and drinking. Dan and Denise both say they have no idea how any of this stuff happened. And the stuff that she said on the show about Mama wanting her to have it and all that, including her husband, is all a lie. And Gramps started calling the congregation members and saying to Denise, to Dan, to everybody, God, is God telling you I should marry Mary? Because God's telling me that. Do you hear when you
manipulation?
Yeah. Yes. And they're all like, no, God is not telling us that you should marry Mary.
He was just hoping one person said it so he could bring them up to the pulpit to say, even this person saw it. They got the message from God. Yes. Didn't work.
So Kim says, and let's not forget, Mary was married to another man at the time. I know. And remember, in the church, you're not to divorce.
Mm-hmm.
So we see at the reunion, Andy asks her, and she says, I got divorced because of irreconcilable differences. Yep, had nothing to do with Robert Sr. And then Kim goes, yeah, she got married to Robert Sr. 19 days
I
after her
know.
divorce. Girl,
Oh.
Mary.
Like, why would you lie about something that all someone has to do is Google search and there's the evidence?
Because she thinks everybody in that church is going to keep their
And
mouth
so,
closed because they think she's God.
well, that didn't happen.
So we hear about her first marriage to a guy named Dana. Dana didn't have a lot of money. So her motive to remarry, to marry Gramps, was lifestyle related. So they called Mary's husband in front of the congregation and ridiculed him and said he was the whole reason that she was disfellowshipped. And they kicked him out of the church. And then the cult guy goes, this is cult-like behavior, fear of God. If you don't agree with us, God will get you. So
Now,
that's
here's
what.
another person who had been a member of the church since he was a child.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So her husband. So Rosalind, Mary's mom, is against the marriage. She comes to head. It all comes to a head, at the walkout service. That's what they call it, the walkout service. Now, this is what we just heard about this season, where she gets her cousin to sit down and have a very staged, stupid conversation where he's going, yes, it was crazy when your mother came into the church.
Yeah.
And she says, yes, it was. And we had to ask her to leave. Wow.
Yeah.
How devastating. It was awful. You guys, if you saw it on the show, it was so fake. It was so fake.
It was.
So Rosalind, the mom, gets up on the pulpit and is saying, this is not God, what's happening here. United we stand, divided we fall. The devil is trying to break up this church. All the people are fighting and the police came.
Girl, this will make me attend church every single Sunday. That would bring me to the house of the Lord to see some shit like that happen. Do you know I would have been the last person to leave church that day?
You've been like, what's going to happen next?
I was like, what's next?
Who's going to get arrested next up on the pulpit? Somebody's going to speak in tongues and get arrested. This is the church for me.
I mean, they consider there's people pushing one another.
Yes.
People are getting hit with umbrellas. Like, I loved it.
So Denise, Mary's sister, says it is like incest because he is the only grandfather we ever knew. Okay.
So here's something I'm going to tell you that is going to be interesting. Okay. So my mom's stepfather was the only grandfather that I knew. Okay. When I was born, he was already married to my grandmother. That was Pawpaw. Only grandfather I knew.
Last week he asked you to marry him.
So when my grandmother died,
a
week and a half later, he asked my aunt to marry him. He tried to buy her a Mercedes. Wait,
aunt. So
as in my mom's sister.
So his stepchild. Okay. His wife's daughter. Yes. His wife's daughter.
Yes. So exactly kind of like this situation right here. He waited 2 weeks after a week and a half after she died.
Exactly like this situation.
Yes. And we quit fucking all the grandkids. This is the only grandfather that we know on this side. He's the only grandfather I have, period.
Yeah.
None of us ever spoke to him again. It was like that. Because there was always something odd about him, but we can never put our finger on it. But just like that, none of us ever fucked with him again. Ever. If he tried to buy her a Mercedes, I'll buy you a new house. I've always been in love with you.
His wife's daughter.
Who she was a child when they got married.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow.
Okay.
Well, on that note, we'll go into episode 3. Okay. Episode 3 is called A Message of Fear and Control. So the church splits. Okay. This is half want to go with Mary's mom that believe that this is not what mama wanted. And the other half go with Mary and Robert. Rosalind tries to start a new church. I don't think it goes very well.
Because 2 of her daughters don't even speak to her. Because Denise doesn't have a relationship with her either.
No.
It wasn't just So something's off about this bitch. We just never figure out
We just
what it
never
is
really know what it is.
now.
So Mary says, my mother was jealous that she wasn't chosen to marry Robert and take over the church.
Okay.
Now we see Up and Adam interviewing Mary's mom,
Mhm.
and Rosie is what they call her. Rosie and Mark, I guess is her husband, feel
Mhm.
that Robert had an influence over Mary and that Mary was a victim. Now,
I agree.
I agree,
A
but
little bit.
a
A little bit.
little bit. I just agree just a
Yeah.
little bit because I do
Yeah.
think whatever it
She wanted the
was,
money.
she saw I can run
Mhm.
this church and have all these businesses and have a house full of luxury goods and have 1 to 7 cousins working for me at all times. Yeah,
For free.
for free. So Mary steps in as the pastor, and then Robert and Mary start using their leadership to chastise people from the pulpit, and they're isolating them. You're not allowed to
Mhm.
talk to anybody who left with Rosalind. And then that's when it starts to look like a cult. It's like in Scientology,
Right.
right? When somebody leaves, they're a suppressive person. You're not allowed to speak to them anymore, even if it's your mother, your brother, your child, whatever, right?
Well, let me say this one thing. When you do hear Mary preaching,
Hmm.
she sounds so much like Mama.
Yeah, it's
She
a
sounds just like it. Just she looks like her. She sounds like her, but she just
mhm,
saying different words.
mhm.
You know what I mean?
You ugly poor people. How come you're so stingy? Okay, so
Stingy and ugly. That's not a
and
good mix.
mm-mm. Um, so Michael Enoch, the one of the 3 siblings, says, "It's starting to feel strange. There's
Mhm.
cameras in the church. She's starting to watch people in the service. Like,
Mhm.
if she's in another home and someone else is preaching, she's watching people in the service, and they would get calls saying, 'I see you. Stop thinking you're cute because you're not cute.'"
Now that does sound like something Mary would say.
It does. Like, I
100%.
saw you in church thinking you're cute. You're not cute."
Mhm. Yeah.
He said, mama did it in the past, would watch if when somebody else was preaching to get encouragement from another
Right.
pastor's words, not to keep an eye on the people in the congregation.
Yeah.
Mary and Robert also changed the way confessions were handled. Instead of people coming to their pastor in private to say, I have a problem, I did something bad, I need to work it out, they had to be public in their confessions to the other
Mm-mm.
congregants.
Mm-mm.
Kim
Mm-mm.
says, here's how it would go. You would write a letter of confession. And another former member named Susie, who we're going to see more of in a minute, says, with mama, she may address it with you directly or she may not, but you would write
Right.
it. But Robert and Mary would deal with it as public humiliation. They would berate you. They would read it out loud and then berate you. And,
That's so fucked up.
and Denise, her sister, goes, oh, yeah, Mary would tell me confessions that people had told her in private.
I
So
mean, that's just such thing as sister talk. But, you know,
Susie says
that's
now
pretty bad.
nobody would socialize because nobody trusted anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And then uh, the cult expert says,
Expert.
this is a message of fear and control to other members. Stay in line, because if you don't
Yeah.
stay in line, then that's going to happen to you.
Now, let me ask you, do you think that this was more Robert Sr.? This is
Hmm.
how he wanted to run things.
Yeah,
And then he told, because a small part of me does believe that she is a little bit of a victim.
I agree with
I
that.
really
Yes.
do. And
Mhm.
then he, you know, told her, this is how we're going to do it. This is how it's going to be. And she just fell in line as well.
Yeah, but I think he used her being attractive and being a dynamic leader and people
Mm-hmm.
seeing her as the direct offspring of mama, not the
Right.
second direct offspring of
Yeah.
mama, that people would respect her more as a leader than him. So he could just be the man behind the
Orchestrating
curtain.
the whole thing.
Yeah.
But
Mhm.
he's telling her, the puppeteer basically, but
Mhm.
he's telling her, this is how we're going to do it. This is what you need to tell them. This is how you keep them in line and things like that.
Yes, and I think she went along with it because she's like, because I do enjoy a handbag and some 5 homes, and also I'd like for you to stay in Vegas and for me to stay in Salt Lake City and don't touch me, and yeah, I think it was
Yeah.
they worked out a deal.
Yeah.
So then we see clips from the show with Jen Shaw, LOL, telling Lisa, Mary is a cult leader. People in her church have lost everything and had to go on food stamps just to go to the church.
Now,
So,
girl.
well, listen, Jen Shaw, it didn't age well. So
No, it didn't.
Cheyenne, the journalist, says, I looked into the financial abuse, and there were people working there in Mary and Robert's home for free, expected to donate their time and their lives to the church. So they're working for free. And so Rosalind Enoch, of the three
Mm-hmm.
siblings, says, I worked for Robert and Mary. I started to accept Mary's position as Robert's wife and as the
Mm-hmm.
first lady of the church. So I worked as her personal assistant. And no, I never got paid. And I had to collect unemployment because they wouldn't pay me.
So here's my thing. Like, yes, as a member of a church, you do volunteer to do things.
Of
Sometimes
course.
people volunteer to clean the church. Someone will volunteer to be
Yeah.
secretary. This is, but not go to their home and clean their
Run
house.
errands, go pick up the dry cleaning, take the dog to the vet. No. Mm-mm.
No, not no. If you want that, that person becomes an employee and you pay them.
Right. So Susie said they did very little for themselves. That's true, but it's different from what it appears on the show. My sister Pat worked
Mm-hmm.
there for many years. Rosalind, Rosalind says Robert and Mary talked horribly to Pat, told her she
Mm.
was a slave and would work there till she died, and that she's going to hell. Pat would just
Wow.
take the insults and was called a liar. She was called a thief. She was almost 80, and she believed in them. And one time, Pat told Rosalind, "Today is the no." I think she told her sister Susie, "Today is the day. I wish I could go to sleep and not wake up." And then she did, and she died. She was 81.
How do you have an 80-year-old woman cleaning your house?
I don't know. Susie says their brother Don gave heavily to the church, and the push for
Mhm.
money never stopped. The sister was working there for free. This brother was giving heavily to the church. And Susie says, I tried to help Don get out of this cycle of financial abuse. And when I tried
Mhm.
to help him, I was punished for it. She was kicked out of the church. And Susie said, I really had no idea of Robert and Mary's wealth until I saw Real Housewives of
The
Salt Lake
show.
City. And I told my brother Don, stop giving them so much money. You're literally a bus driver. Quit giving
So
all your money.
so what Cameron set out to do, he did, because
No,
these people had no idea of the
right.
lavish lifestyle that they look. This is not just like we're doing well. This is
No.
rich, rich.
Five
Okay,
homes. I have 5 homes. I have an
not
apartment in New York
small
City.
homes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like yeah, an apartment in New York City says it all. And she is probably in damn Manhattan. You know what I mean?
But you've seen like the picture of their house in Vegas, and you've
Yeah,
seen their Salt Lake City house.
these are not small rinky-dink homes.
So Mary kicked Susie out of the church for telling her brother to stop giving.
Mhm.
And she says, when that happened, I felt like God had rejected me. And then my
Mm.
sister Pat, who worked for them, died. And I was told I was not allowed to come to the funeral because I was kicked out of the church.
Girl, how did I
She
would have
says
fucked that whole church up.
she says they purposely drive a wedge between families. I didn't get to properly say goodbye to my sister.
And then they showed the pictures from their childhood. Like that was sad. That was fucked up.
She's in the church. You destroy your family to put Robert and Mary
Mhm.
first. And Kim says, this is married to
Mhm.
Don, the cousin, says, I was very close to them for 10 years. I went to California with them on a trip. And then
Mhm.
one night, Mary went to bed and Robert and I sat on the balcony. We were literally just talking about, look at this beautiful ocean, look what God has created. And then the
Right.
next day, or when the trip was over, Robert and Mary called me together and said that she needed to apologize because obviously she wanted Robert and that I
Girl,
was
don't
in
nobody
love
want
with
old ass Robert.
him. And she goes, "He's my husband's grandpa."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yes, I love him as my bishop. And he had to explain to Kim, sometimes people get their love confused and you're going to need to work on it because obviously you're in love with me. Um, So Kim says, I grew up Mormon. And she goes, in the LDS church, if you have an issue, you meet with your bishop. So they would call me and tell me to come to the house and they would counsel me about how I was in love with Robert. And Robert kept telling me I was confused about my love for him. And so the expert says, cults use mind control and gaslighting to disorient the
Mhm.
members and they don't have confidence in their own
Mhm.
beliefs. So you can
Right.
kind of see how this goes. So
Yes.
Kim says, things with Robert got more frequent and intense, just nonstop wanting me to come to the house. They nonstop texted and called me. And I had fear because you have to answer right away. And Mary's text would just berate me and tell me how awful I was. Now, we see a clip of Whitney reading Mary's abusive text to her saying,
Mhm.
I don't have to do all the stuff to my face. You're so ugly. You're an ugly person.
Mhm.
Da da da. And Kim goes, that was nothing.
That was nothing.
She goes, that was nothing. She goes, when I saw
Uh,
that on TV, I thought, oh, well. She goes, that's just the tip of what she's capable of doing.
That and then the phone calls and the text messages would be like in the middle of the night, like
Yeah.
at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning.
Just call her
That's
just
crazy.
to cuss her out.
Like, why are y'all are old? Why are y'all even up
Yeah.
at 3 o'clock in the morning? What are you doing?
So Dan, Kim's wife, says
Mm.
Kim would be at the house 7 days a week. And I started to feel like they were trying to pull her away from me.
Mhm.
And Kim says, they told me God wanted me at the house, and going home meant I was putting Dan ahead of God. And Dan goes, and now my daughters are always up there with her. And if I said anything about it, then I was with the devil. And
Right.
my daughter started to not know me very well. And
Mm.
I lost track of my marriage. It became a living hell. It was all about division, all about keeping us apart. So
They were
Dan's,
okay with ripping apart families.
uh-huh.
Not just families, their family. Like these people
That's
are
her
members of
cousin.
Mary's family. Like, yeah. Yeah.
So Dan says, one Sunday I went to church, and at the end I went up for a prayer with Robert. And as
Mhm.
I approached, he pushed me down onto the
Mhm.
ground. And Mary sent him a text and said, the whole church witnessed God leaving you.
That's insane.
And he says, I never went back to church. And right after that, the housewives came out. And her tagline was, if you come after me, I'll send Jesus for you. And
That's exactly what she was doing.
and that sounds funny, but that's what she was doing.
That's what she was doing. Yeah.
So Cheyenne, the author, says Robert and Mary used heaven and hell as a weapon to scare people. And it was drilled in you that you had to accept the teachings of Mary to get to heaven. And,
Mhm.
and you see lots of clips where say, if you believe in me, then you believe in God.
Exactly.
So Denise says once she got on the Housewives, they knew some people in the church are going to be on board with this and some are not. And I was one of the ones that was not.
Mhm.
And she says, I've had bad knees. I had a childhood something where I had
Yeah.
maybe had bad knees. And my gramps, her
Mhm.
brother-in-law, my gramps was teaching Bible blast is what I wrote, but surely that's not it.
Mm-mm,
Bible
mm-mm.
class. Um, my gramps was teaching Bible class, and the power of God hit me. And next thing I knew, I was in the aisle and my legs wouldn't work and I was falling. And I looked up. So I guess like the power of God hit her. She felt like she needed to stand up to speak in tongues or emote. And because
And her
she has
knees were
this leg
bad.
problem, she
Mhm.
fell. And when she fell, she looked up and Robert and Mary were laughing at her.
Now, siblings do laugh at siblings when they fall.
But not like this. She's got a childhood issue that makes her knees not work, Geisha.
I know. I know. I know.
And she says, I was shocked at the level of manipulation going on here. Things were getting worse. And, Mary is my pastor and my sister.
She's my sister. She should be her sister first.
And she says, but she's telling me this is what it'll take to get to heaven. And eventually I had a mental breakdown. The devil
Damn.
told me to unalive myself. And then I heard the Lord speak to me as clear as anything. It said, it's a cult.
It's a cult.
And now I believe that.
Woo.
And she said, and I snapped out of it and I left the church and it's been amazing for me. And I don't know why other people don't get out.
Mm.
Okay. So Sherelle's World said, people
Yes.
loved Mary and thought she was quirky until Robert
Yeah.
Sr. came on the scene. And then it clicked with the audience because he's an angry man.
Yeah. And I think she fears him a little bit.
That's what I'm saying. When I've seen them on screen, it's like she's not that fun, quirky, mean Mary that we
No.
see.
And I think part of the reason could be that everything is in his name.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I'm sure it
Yeah.
is.
So she
And
has to kind of fall in line.
if she's smart, she's pulling a Bronwyn and using this as a lily pad to do something else. But
I
don't be like Dorit and don't know what your finances are.
She may not know what her finances really are.
So Dan and Kim talk about it one day, how Robert called, and it was weird because he is Dan's pastor, but also his
Mhm.
granddad.
Mhm.
And he called Kim and said, if I want to fly you to Vegas, would you come? And she says, what?
Mm-mm.
He says, you should tell me you love me. Tell me you love me. And Kim said to Dan, I think something's wrong with him. Like
You think?
this is a game to him. And
Yeah.
she later finds out, Kim found out that she's not the only one he's doing this to.
Right.
And she says, and that made me feel free. I knew I was
Yeah.
being abused. I left the church completely.
He's an abuser. He is. I think he abused Mama as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Mhm.
So Sherelle says some of the ex-members, when it first came out on Housewives, started contacting her as a blogger, and
Mhm.
that saying that Robert was coming on to them, to these church members. And Sherelle says, if you're vulnerable and go to your church leader and then you get hit on, well,
Yes.
then you're fucked for the rest of your life. You're damaged.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
So cult leaders want power, money, and sex. Those are the 3 things they want. Power,
Mhm.
money, and sex.
Yep.
You can look at any cult, you can look at NXIVM, you can look at
It's all the
Scientology,
same.
you can look
Yeah.
at the Rajneeshis, you can look at anything. It's power, money, and sex. They want complete control. They have no accountability of wrongdoing. And in this case, Mary has no accountability of wrongdoing. She'll never admit she's done anything wrong because she thinks she's above the law. So it was the Daily Beast. Cheyenne published her piece about the cult for the Daily Beast in 2021.
Mhm.
Mary skipped the season 2
Yep.
reunion. So she was
Yep.
on season 1, she was on season 2, and she skipped the season 2 reunion. And the cast members say at the reunion, yes, we believe it's a cult. We've all spoken to former members of the cult. Yet she still goes back on the show season 4. It's crazy.
Well, so we all assumed because she skipped the reunion that she had gotten fired because she wasn't on the next season.
Right. She wasn't.
And then she comes back. But when she comes back, she's totally different.
Well, in season 5, last season, not the current season. So sorry. So season 4, she comes back in a limited role. That's when she went to the
Yes.
hotel and they're like, you want to come sit by us? She's like, no. And wouldn't do
Yes.
anything. She wouldn't participate. She sat in the van, ate the fish fillet.
Which I would have done. That ain't, I'll do that too. Yes.
But
But
now
she still was different. She was coming into the Mary that we know now.
we're in season 5, and she's fun. She's light. She's easy breezy. She's hilarious. Everybody loves her. Everybody's forgotten.
I don't think anyone has forgotten.
Well,
I think it's
I had forgotten a lot of this, Keisha. I
I
had.
hadn't forgotten about it. I was just like, she is really changed. And the fact that she was so willing to share the story about Robert Jr. and her just she totally took off her mask. The fact that she actually developed a friendship, a genuine friendship with Angie,
Mhm.
so much to the point. I don't know if you watched Wife Swap when Angie's episode.
Yeah. No,
While
I didn't.
Angie was gone, she went to Angie's house. You know what I mean? And she made
Yeah.
this funny comment when she saw like how the other lady, they were like cleaning the fish. She's like, Alexa's coming with me. I'm taking her with me.
Yeah.
She's so different. And I think some of it has to do with she's making her own money now from the show.
Yeah.
I think Robert Sr. no longer lives there.
Right.
I just don't think he does. I don't
No, he
buy
doesn't.
that he doesn't want to be on camera. I don't think he lives there at all. And I think she's happier.
Yeah.
I think she's happier. I think the
again,
change, she's been chained for so long.
but again,
Mm-hmm.
you can't forget there are still all these, victims. So Adam says,
Sure.
Up and Adam says, now season 5, she's refused to talk about her husband and the church. She just has to engage on the show, and everybody loves her, and everybody has forgotten because she never mentions Robert Sr. and never mentions the church. So now that is gone. And Adam says she gets a huge pass and she didn't get any repercussions for this stuff that, because she went away for a season. So then we see an interviewer asking her if your church is a cult. And she goes, that's ridiculous. Why would I come on TV if I was running a cult? Well, why would you come on TV if you were running Ponzi schemes and
they do it all the time.
And then steal money from old people and
they do it all the time. Yeah.
Let's list out the people that have been arrested. So
yeah.
Cheyenne goes, for her to say, why would I come on TV if I was running a cult? That's a deflection because for the congregation members, there are a lot of unresolved issues and a lot of these people want apologies from her.
Mhm.
Now we meet Bishop Galvin. Bishop Galvin is of the Soul Restoration Ministries Move of God.
That is just too much to say.
The Soul Restoration Ministries Move of God, Pentecostal Church. The church is made up of ex-members of
Mhm.
Faith Temple, the ones who were kicked out. And Bishop Galvin says, the Lord has spoken to me and told me I have to forgive what happened at the Faith Temple Pentecostal Church.
Right.
Um, Denise and Susie, so Denise, the sister, Susie,
Mhm.
the other, the Pat works for them. Susie
Right.
say the Soul Restoration Ministries Move of God Pentecostal Church is like Mama's Love has come back. It
That's
is like
nice.
the church that we had
Yeah.
before. And Ernest Enoch says, I had to protect my peace. I had to leave because he was the organist and his dad was the organist.
Right.
So I've gone to the other church and it's like now I've got joy in my life. The church is currently looking for a permanent home. And where Faith Temple is today, the church has been renovated. And
Mhm.
and they see Kim, they're asking Kim about the renovation. She goes, they ain't done any renovations.
I mean, it doesn't
No,
really look like
uh-uh.
it, but you know.
We see Rosalind watching, not, I want to make sure when you know I'm not talking about Mary's mother. She's
Mhm.
passed. We see Rosalind watching a clip of when Whitney and her dad and everybody came to the church and they're
Right.
all like cheering in the front row and
Mhm.
everybody's clapping. And Rosalind goes, no, this was all fake, which we knew that. We knew that it was fake. She said, this was all fake. Word got out they were going to record Real Housewives there. And I said, I'm not going tonight and I'm not going ever again.
Never
And I've
again. Yeah.
never gone to another service. She says, that was a fake service. And she says, individuals still caught in those walls are not seeing the true signs. When things seem off, you need to take a step back and look. You don't have to live under spiritual abuse. You don't have to live under religious abuse. God is love. And if you don't
Mhm.
feel love and freedom, then you should
Right.
find something else.
Okay. That's true.
Michael Enoch says, people in that church are delusional. God don't wear Louis Vuitton and the devil don't wear Prada, but maybe he wears Chanel.
That's the perfect way to end it.
That was the ending.
Yeah.
Black Screen of Death tells us at the end, Robert Cosby Sr. no longer appears on The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City due to issues with production. Mary Cosby's mother, Rosalind, died during the making of this documentary. Producers reached out to Mary and Robert Cosby. They declined to be interviewed or to comment on any of the allegations made in this program. Um, I will tell you that when Mary, before season 5 started and Mary was on Watch What Happens Live,
Mhm.
Andy asked her, "Now, why did you decide to come back?" She goes, "I was y'all needed me. I don't know."
They did.
She goes, "I'm here. I'm here to help you." And he just
She
laughed
was she
like,
was right. Because I mean,
and
I
then
have to agree with her because they had a couple of seasons there was like, Mary came back and now we're all fucking loving Salt Lake City again.
Andy said, "So we're going to see Robert Sr. on the show?" She goes, "No." And Andy said, "Why
There's
not?" And she goes, "He don't like you. He don't like you." And Andy goes, "He doesn't like me?" And she goes, "No, he doesn't like you. He didn't like production. So no, he won't be on the show." So
and
Andy's
no
like,
one's
"Okay."
missing him. Yeah. No
Nobody
one
needs
misses
that
him.
old grandpa farting around.
He was grumpy. He brought nothing to the so you know, Jersey husbands bring a little bit something to the show.
Well,
Robert Sr.
they're
brought
yeah,
absolutely nothing to the show. No.
I agree.
Mm-mm.
I agree. That's it. We did it. It was 23 pages of notes and boom, we did it in less than an hour and a half. I'm so proud.
We did.
I'm
Yes, we
so
did.
proud. I thought it was a very good documentary, everybody.
Yeah.
I would recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I thought it was well done. I think that some people I talked to that had also seen it didn't like all of the clips of the social media and the air quote bloggers and all that. They didn't like all
Okay.
that. But I disagree. I think that it's needed in a documentary like this because so much of the story is driven by
Social
Cheyenne's
media.
Cheyenne's
Yeah.
article, and then that gets
Yeah.
traction on social media, and then the TikTokers start looking into it. And so
Yeah.
because a story like this is so driven by social media, I think, yeah, I think
I
you
agree.
needed it. I think you
I
needed
think,
it.
yeah, you do. You do. Because so much information we get straight from social media.
And
We
how
just
much
do.
chatter was about it. So if somebody goes
It was a
into
lot.
this just like sort of knowing what the housewives are, but they don't really know, they're just going to watch this documentary, it sort
Mm-hmm.
of helps to see how many people are talking about it,
Yeah.
you know? Yeah. So
Yeah. I
I thought
agree.
it was a good element, but some other
I
people
do
I
too.
talked to didn't like it.
Well, you
It would have
know,
been
we can
only
all agree to disagree.
it would only been 2 episodes if they wouldn't have had all that. It would have been less.
That is true. That is
Mhm.
true. But I feel like it was still needed.
I agree.
Yeah, it was a good watch.
Everybody, if you're new here, please follow me on Instagram at Pink Shade Pod. I've got a lot of clips up about this. And also, please follow Keisha at the Libra Lounge with Keisha. We each have a podcast. This is Pink Shade. Keisha has a podcast called the Libra Lounge with Keisha, where she covers a lot of pop culture news and shows that are even trashier than the ones I cover. So there you have it. But make sure you're giving us a follow, and then you can see what's happening on our respective shows. And thanks for listening. And Keisha, I will see you later with our Welcome to Plathville recaps. Our 60 Days In, rolling into Love During Lockup is coming soon.
Yeah.
And all
Yeah.
the other stuff, all the 90-day stuff and all the Bravo stuff we're covering over there. All right. Talk to
Yep.
you later. Bye.
Bye.